We all depend on water for our survival and the survival of the Earth's ecosystems. For that reason, management of water resources is among the most important challenges facing countries around the world. In the United States, the normal flow of most of our rivers is already fully allocated, and new water supplies are scarce. But the demand for water in our cities, our farms, and our industries continues to grow. As water resources are found in short supply, the demand to preserve them has intensified. The relationship between water quality and water quantity has become a significant concern. All of these factors create a complex challenge for state and federal officials who must find ways to share water from rivers that flow through more than one state. The issue of who decides where the water goes, how it is used, and how the decision will be made is becoming increasingly important across the United States. Along with state legislatures, Congress and the Supreme Court have weighed in on a number of controversial battles over water, and rarely has anyone been happy with the results. In the Southwest, a new battle is brewing over a proposal to sell water from the Kiamichi River in southeastern Oklahoma to the rapidly growing Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area. Oklahoma and Texas already have a compact dealing with the use of water from the Red River, which borders and separates both states. But the Red River is heavily salinated due to naturally occurring brine emissions into several subbasins and requires costly treatment. So Texas wants to create a new compact that will give them paid access to the cleaner waters of the Kiamichi before it flows into the Red River. Negotiations have come to a standstill as concerns over future in-state needs, potential environmental impacts of withdrawals, especially during droughts, and the rights of sovereign Indian tribes in the Kiamichi Basin have presented formidable hurdles. The dispute over the Kiamichi illustrates the complexities of water rights, the increasing pressure on water resource policies, and the need to reevaluate the decision-making process. Do we have the legal and political tools that enable us to make sensible, equitable, and environmentally sound decisions regarding our water resources? To better understand this issue, let's take a look back at the history of water policy in the United States, its successes and failures, and the process now in place. The authority of states over the waters within their borders dates to the birth of the nation. After the Revolutionary War, the colonies adopted the policy held by the British, which gave them sovereignty over navigable water in their territory. States who later entered the Union had the same authority granted under the Equal Footing Doctrine. This gave the states near absolute power over waters within their boundaries. They are limited only by federal navigation regulations and Congress's power under the Commerce Clause to control navigation. To distribute water among their citizens, states have typically followed one of two water rights doctrines, riparianism and prior appropriation. Riparian refers to the land adjoining a body of water. So, the riparian doctrine bases water rights on ownership of land bordering a waterway. It allows that owner to make reasonable use of the water for beneficial purposes, taking into account the needs of other nearby landowners. However, no riparian property owner has a right superior to any other. This approach to water rights is most commonly found in the eastern United States. Prior appropriation rights, in contrast, don't depend on land ownership. An appropriative right is established by diverting or taking water from a stream and putting it to beneficial use. Unlike riparian rights, appropriative rights are based solely on the dates the rights were established. A right with an earlier priority date is entitled to their full share before a right with a later priority date is entitled to a drop. The riparian or prior appropriation doctrines may determine the rights of private parties to water within a state, but are of limited importance in disputes between states themselves. And although a state generally has broad power over waters within its borders and little or no direct authority over waters in neighboring states, they can't entirely neglect the interests of downstream states. It stands to reason that an upstream state cannot deprive a downstream state of a shared river's benefits. But how much water can an upstream state use before it crosses the line? And who decides?